world ruler. Now, how will the U.S. fit into this scenario in the near future? Well, as I've described earlier in the series, the next phase of the Power Elites plan, I believe, involves the federal government increasing the nation's debt throughout the rest of President Obama's term of office, so that by 2016, 3 years from now, 2016, and the next presidential election, our national debt will then, by that time, be unmanageable. I mean, it's already unmanageable, but they're still tinkering around the edges. And I think I hear the music.
Well, we'll be back in just a moment with Dr. Dennis Cuddy. We're moving into very difficult conditions. We'll be right back here at Genesis. Well, Dr. Stan here at the Genesis Communication Network and our guest, Dr. Dennis Cuddy. Dennis, you want to go ahead and finish up your thoughts on will suddenly Israel attack Iran? Go right ahead.
Okay, what I'm doing now is seeing how this whole scenario, the pressure on both sides and the pressure on Israel and so forth, so on, play into the planned future and how the U.S. will fit into this whole scenario in the near future. And what I said later on, just before the break, was this year or so may not be so bad, but by the end of President Obama's second term here, in 2016, the economy, the debt will have been piled so high, and there will be a global, effect on all of this because they've deliberately created a world economy. So what affects one nation affects another. What affects Europe affects us, and vice versa, and so on. So that by 2016, the debt in this country and other countries, Greece and others, and the rising inflation will be so bad that the situation would be almost unmanageable. And that's what they want. So that by 2018, what you would find is that the countries of the world reluctantly will say, well, oh my goodness, we can't tinker with this anymore. We'll just have to accept the world currency. And 2018 is a very important date. In fact, the new book I have coming out about 2 weeks that I mentioned earlier, on the cover will be sort of a light yellow, and then there'll be red writing at the title, sort of an alarm, red light, flashing alarm. And then the visual on the cover will be a picture of the currency, a gold coin. It'll be called the World Phoenix 2018, because that's what it'll be called, the Phoenix in the old mythology, rising from the ashes. So this will be the Phoenix bird, the gold coin rising from the economic ashes that are to come in just a few years. And that really isn't just my imagination. I'm picking up on the cover of The Economist magazine, the British publication The Economist, and The Economist is linked to MI6, British intelligence, in this whole scenario. On their cover of their Economist magazine, January 9th, 1988, they said, pencil in, here's the World Phoenix, pencil in the Phoenix for 2018. That was 30 years in advance. They were saying this would be the world currency, and they're on schedule, pretty close to schedule. And the countries will accept it, saying, well, this is the only way to prevent impending global economic collapse. And my prediction, I know we go out on a limb on these things, but my prediction is at that time the president would be presidential candidate. President would be Jeb Bush. Why? Well, the power elite has this alternation of power scenario. So you had George H.W. Bush, then you had a Bill Clinton, then you had George W. Bush, then you had Barack Obama, and then it's time for another Bush, as they say. Now, it could be anybody. I'm not saying it has to be, but I'm saying Jeb Bush because he fits all the criteria. And I've been over this before. He's, playing nice with Hillary Clinton. He's got an education foundation, and he has a wife who's of Mexican descent, and the Hispanic vote will be important and all that sort of thing. And that was a strategy developed by Skull and Bones power elite member William Whitney back in the late 1800s. So this isn't just something I'm dreaming up. They actually have this alternation of power strategy. And so the strategy to get Jeb Bush elected in November 2016 would be, I think, the same one they've used in the past, the same one they used to get Mitt Romney elected as the Republican presidential candidate in 2012. If you recall, Romney did not get more than, say, about 40% of the vote in the early primaries, but he won the nomination. Why? Because the field of candidates was so crowded, they split the vote. See, that was the mechanism they used then, probably used in 2016. So that'll happen also with Jeb Bush in 2016, as I think a majority of Republicans may not want another Bush, but the field will be so crowded, and because of the name recognition Bush and his family's influence, that's how Jeb Bush will sort of slip in the back door and win the early primaries with simply a plurality, not even a majority, just a plurality of the votes. No, not over 50%, but he'll have the most of all the candidates in the field at the time, and that will build his delegate counts. As you build your delegate counts through those early primaries, you get more and more and more delegates, so that by the time of the convention, he will have enough delegates to be chosen as the party's nominee. That's what Romney did. They'll probably repeat that. And as I've written before, Jeb Bush will be, I call him the designated winner. There's designated losers, designated winners. So he'll be the party's designated winner in 2016, and either Vice President Joe Biden or Hillary Clinton will be the designated loser. Biden would, if he was the one, he probably would gaffe his way to defeat, which is what they want. He's known for making these gaffes and dumb remarks. And Hillary has been tarnished, of course, by her failure to act regarding the Benghazi terrorist attack. Plus, just for Hillary, about 50% of the public polled some years ago about Hillary when she was running for president herself. About 50% of those polled nationally in the past said they have some sort of visceral dislike of her for various reasons. So right there, she's starting from behind. Now, Jeb Bush, I believe, will serve 2 terms of office. See, just like Barack Obama, just like George W. Bush, Jeb would serve 2 terms of office, and then the alternation of power planned by the power elite will result at that time in the election of a Democrat as president in November 2024. It'll probably be a woman, and she would take office, of course, as they always do, in January 2025. Now, what's relevant about that is 2025 is the year by which Luciferian Alice Bailey said the World Federation of Nations would be taking, quote, rapid shape. See, it speeds up toward the end, as H.G. Wells said, speeds up, taking rapid shape. And the female Democrat president, I think, will complete the journey of the United States into socialism. Barack Obama is moving us there, and then she will complete that movement into socialism for America. And therefore, at that point, once America's socialist, it will be easily absorbed into this World Federation, a world government of nations, which will also be socialist. And that's what they wanted. Cecil Rhodes and all these people, absorb the wealth of the world, and then you'd have this dialectical process of synthesizing Western capitalism and Eastern communism into the world socialist government. Now, again, it's not just me saying, hey, Cuddy's got this theory. I always try to do like the world currency for 2018. I show you the picture in the book that's coming out of the cover of The Economist for 1988. Well, relevant to what
Dennis, I'm going to interrupt you because we're out of time, but God bless. We're looking forward to seeing that new book. And if you're out there in the listening audience, you'd like to help Dennis be able to have somebody there with Peggy until he can get her back home. He's going to need somebody to look after part-time there in the convalescent hospital so he can come home, get a little sleep, and then do our programs on a regular basis. God bless Dennis, and we'll look forward to talking to you real soon. I give Peggy my best. Give her a hug for me.
I will. Thanks for having me.
God bless. Okay, well, this is Dr.